Hi guys, I welcome every one of you to the next visual lecture. In the last lecture, we completed the common diseases in humans, and this time we are going to start immunity, which is also a very important part of this topic. Okay, so we'll be starting immunity here. So every day we are exposed to a large number of infectious agents. However, only a few of these exposures result in disease. Why? This is due to the fact that the body is able to defend itself from most of the foreign agents, and this overall ability of the host to fight the disease causing organism conferred by immune system is called immunity. So immunity is of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is non-specific type of defense that is present at the time of birth. This is accomplished by providing different types of barriers to the entry of foreign agents into our body. Innate immunity consists of four types of barriers, and these are the first one being the physical barriers. The skin on our body is the main barrier which prevents the entry of the microorganisms. The mucus containing of the epithelium lining, the respiratory, gastrointestinal, urogenital tracts also help in trapping microbes entering our body. Physiological barriers: acid in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from the eyes, they all prevent microbial growth. Now we are going to discuss the physiological barriers. So we just did that. Now we are on the cellular barriers. So the first one were the physical barriers, the skin on our body. Okay, mucus coating and epithelium lining, respiratory, gastrointestinal, urogenital. Second one was physiological, that is stomach, hydrochloric acid in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from the eyes. And the third one is cellular barrier. Certain types of leukocytes, WBC of our body, like nuclear leukocytes, PMNL neutrophils, and monocytes, and natural killer type of lymphocytes in the blood, as well as macrophages in the tissues. They can phagocytose and destroy the microbes. Next, we go on the cytokine barriers. This is the most important part because you have to remember what are alpha interferons. Okay, so virus infected cells, they secrete proteins which are known as interferons, which protect non-infectious cells from further viral infection. Okay, so virus infected, which are already virus infected, they secrete proteins, interferons, which protect non-infected cells from viral infection. So what is acquired immunity now? This is we talked about the innate immunity, and second one is acquired immunity. So acquired immunity, on the other hand, is pathogen specific. It is characterized by memory. This means that our body, when it encounters pathogen for the first time, produces a response which is called primary response, which is of low intensity, and subsequent encounter with the same pathogen elicits a highly intensified secondary or amnestic response, and this is ascribed to the fact that our body appears to have memory of the first encounter, and the primary and the secondary immune responses are carried out with the help of two special types of lymphocytes present in our body, that is B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. The B lymphocyte produce an army of proteins in response to the pathogens into our blood to fight with them, and these proteins are called antibodies. The T cells themselves do not secrete any antibodies, but they help the B cell produce them. Each antibody molecule has 4 peptide chains, 2 small called light chains and the 2 longer called heavy chains. Hence an antibody is represented as H2L2. Different type of antibodies are produced in our body. IgA. See, IgA is the first one which protects our body surfaces. IgM, it protects the bloodstream. IgE, this mediates regional hypersensitivity. IgG, it protects the body fluids. And one more is there, IgD, which is not mentioned here, but it is also one of the IGs, that means it is one of the antibodies basically. And the IgD, it helps in activation of B lymphocyte. Okay, so a cartoon of an antibody is given in figure 8.4. Because these antibodies are found in the blood, the response is also called as humoral immune response. So this is one of the two types of our acquired immune response, antibody mediated, and the second type is called cell mediated immune response, or called cell mediated immunity, CMI. So the T lymphocytes, they mediate the cell mediated immunity. Very often when some human organs like heart, eye, liver, kidney, they fail to function satisfactorily, transplantation is the only remedy to enable the patient to live a normal life. So then a search begins to find a suitable donor. So why is that? The organs cannot be taken from just anybody. What is it that the doctors check? So grafts from just any source, an animal, another primate, or any human being cannot be made, since the grafts would be rejected sooner or later. Tissue matching, blood group matching are essential before undertaking any graft transplant, and even after this, the patient has to take immunosuppressants all his life. The body is able to differentiate self and non self, and the cell mediated immune response is responsible for the graft rejection. So, the active and passive immunity, see. When a host is exposed to antigens, which may be in the form of living or dead microbes or other proteins, antibodies are produced in the host body, and this type of immunity is called active immunity. So the active immunity is slow and it takes time to give its full effective response. Injecting the microbes deliberately during immunization or infectious organisms gaining access into body during natural infection induce active immunity. When ready-made antibodies are directly given to protect the body against foreign agents, it is called passive immunity. So do you know why mother's milk is considered very essential for the newborn infant? The yellowish fluid colostrum is secreted by mother during the initial days of lactation, has abundant antibodies IgA that I just told you, that protects the body surfaces to protect the infant. So the fetus also receives some antibodies from their mother through the placenta during the pregnancy. Okay, these are some examples of passive immunity. Next topic is vaccination and immunization. So, the principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of memory of the immune system. Okay, in vaccination, a preparation of antigenic proteins of pathogens or inactivated weakened pathogen vaccine are introduced into the body. The antibodies produced in the body against these antigens would neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infection. So the vaccines also generate memory B and T cells that recognize the pathogen quickly on subsequent exposure and overwhelm the invaders with a massive production of antibodies. If a person is infected with some deadly microbes to which quick immune response is required, as in tetanus, we need to directly inject the preformed antibodies or antitoxin, a preparation containing antibodies to the toxin. Even in cases of snake bites, the injection which is given to the patients contain preformed antibodies against the snake venom. So this type of immunization is called passive immunization. Now, recombinant DNA technology has allowed the production of antigen polypeptides of pathogen in bacteria or yeast. The vaccines produced using this approach, they show or allow large-scale production and hence greater availability for immunization. For example, the hepatitis B vaccine is produced from the yeast. So now we're talking about the allergies. So when you've gone to a place and suddenly you start sneezing, wheezing for no explained reason, and when you went away, your symptoms disappeared. So did this happen to you? Some of us are sensitive to some particles in the environment, and the above mentioned reaction could be because of allergy to pollen, mites, etc., which are different in different places. So the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. The substances to which such an immune response is produced are called allergens. The antibodies produced to these are of IgE types, that is, they mediates regional hypersensitivity. Common examples of allergens are mites in dust, pollens, animal dander, etc. Symptoms of allergic reactions include sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, and difficulty in breathing. Allergy is due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. Important for determining the cause of allergy, the patient is exposed to or injected with a very small doses of possible allergens and the reaction study. The use of drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Somehow, modern day lifestyle has resulted in lowering of immunity and more sensitivity to allergens. More and more children in metro cities of India suffer from allergy and asthma due to sensitivity to the environment. This could be because of protected environment provided early in life. Now, the next topic is autoimmunity. So, memory based acquired immunity evolved in higher vertebrates based on the ability to differentiate foreign organisms, for example, pathogens, from self. So, while we still do not understand the basis of this, two corollaries of this ability have to be understood. One is that higher vertebrates can distinguish foreign molecules as well as foreign organisms. Most of the experimental immunology deals with this aspect. Two, sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons. The body attacks cells and this results in damage to the body and is called autoimmune disease. So rheumatoid arthritis, which affects many people in our society, it is an autoimmune disease. Now, immune system in the body. The human immune system consists of lymphoid organs, tissue cells, and soluble molecules like antibodies. As we have read, immune system is unique in the sense that it recognizes foreign antigen, responds to these, and remembers them. The immune system also plays an important role in allergic reactions. Autoimmune diseases and organ transplantation. Lymphoid organs. So these are the organs where origin or maturation and proliferation of lymphocyte occur. The primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow and thymus, where immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen-specific antigen-sensitive lymphocytes. After maturation, the lymphocytes migrate to secondary lymphoid organ like spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, sparse patches of small intestine, and appendix. The secondary lymphoid organs provide sites for interaction of lymphocytes with the antigen, which then proliferate to become effector cells. So the location of various lymphoid organs in the human body is shown in the figure 8.5, where these are the lymphoid organs, this is the thymus, and these are the lymphatic vessels. So the bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all the blood cells including the lymphocytes are produced. The thymus is a lobed organ located near the heart and beneath the breastbone. The thymus is quite large at the time of birth but keeps reducing in size with age, and by the time puberty is attained, it reduces to a very small size. Both the bone marrow and thymus, they provide microenvironments for the development and maturation of T lymphocytes. The spleen is a large bean-shaped organ. It mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. It acts as a filter of blood by trapping the blood-borne microorganisms. Spleen also has a large reservoir of erythrocytes. The lymph nodes are small solid structures which are located at different points along the lymphatic system. Lymph nodes serve to trap the microorganism or other antigens which happen to get into the lymph and tissue fluid. Antigens trapped in the lymph nodes are responsible for the activation of lymphocyte present there and cause immune response. So there is lymphoid tissue also located within the lining of major tracts, that is respiratory, digestive, called the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. It constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body. So with this we covered 8.2, and in the next video we will start with AIDS. So see you soon.